Here we go. Here we go. Fight week festivities are all done for, folks. UFC 294. It's here. One more day. And remember, if you guys need a way to watch, hit me up. I'll be live here. I'll be live on Twitch. I'll be live on Kick. And I'll be live for the two main event fights right here. Instagram, guys. If you're confused in any way, hit me up. All my information will be in the description below, and I'll find you a way to watch the fights. But I'm gonna just quickly to get to my prediction for the fight and kind of a breakdown of how I analyze it in my own personal opinion. So I'll start with Makhachev versus Volkanovski. We have a little bit of history with them already fighting one time. A lot of people are judging the first fight and how close it was and saying that you know just people are so hesitant to doubt Volk because of his dominance that we've seen lately, which I understand. I understand he made Islam look way more human than Charles did. I understand that a lot of Charles fans are just jumping on Volk and hoping that somebody can be the one to solve that Makachev puzzle. But I'm sorry to break it to you guys. If you rewatch that first fight, every single person that I argue with online or I see an argument going on online and they want to defend Volk, the only thing they post is highlights from the fifth round. And you just have to remember these fights are scored on a round by round basis. This is not pride rules. You're not, you're not judging on street fight rules. Like he was whooping them at the end. So that's just not how it works, man. If you're going by round basis, you're not going to find 3 rounds for Volk, in my personal opinion. Think what you want. Um, but piggybacking on that, coming into the second fight, after having that much of a battle, but coming up short in a full camp, it's going to be even harder for me to, lean that way on short notice. It is kind of a outside variable that Volk is going to be coming in kind of balls to the wall, nothing to lose, because this fight to me is almost a lose lose for Islam. You know what I'm saying? Even the first fight, he wins. He doesn't jump over him pound for pound. He's beating a guy from a smaller weight class. He doesn't gain a second belt. Everything to gain is in Volk's corner. So it's really almost nothing. It was nothing for him to gain really in the first one since they didn't give him pound for pound anyway. And now in the second one, he has even less to gain. Of course, like I'm gonna give him respect. Beat anybody beating Volkanovski is huge respect. But if nobody gave him respect in the first fight, they damn sure ain't gonna do it now. Even if he comes out and finishes him, they're just gonna say it was on short notice. Volk won the first one. Fraud. You know what I'm saying? It'll never be good enough for some people. They just get their mind set on who their favorites are and who their enemies are, and they just never go against it. But Volk coming in on 12 days notice, it's just almost impossible for me to lean that way. And the fact that he just had surgery in July, he did look good in his fight in between, but I just didn't see any indication that he now all of a sudden has a new skill set that would allow him to beat Islam. And I'll kind of, mirror both fights in the way that they're having to cut weight in 12 days. When you're cutting weight, and especially when you're moving to a new weight class, there's two ways you can do it. You can bulk up. You can basically rebuild your body and try to turn yourself into a 185 or a 155 fighter. Or you can just do more of the, oh, that's about my walk around weight. I'm gonna train hard, but I'm not gonna do a hard weight cut. I'm just gonna kind of show up at my walk around weight, which is what Izzy did when he fought Jan Blachowicz. We saw how that went. You don't have the strength. You don't have the body type like these other guys that are fighting at 205. and are bulking up to 220, 230 on the fight day. And I think that is going to be the heaviest variable for both of these fights. The fact that Volkanovski didn't have 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks to build his body up to 155. If you even look at the weigh-in yesterday, he doesn't have the most muscular frame. You know, he's not cut up like he's, all muscle at 155. He looks like he came in on 12 days. He didn't have time to bulk up. He didn't have time to, maybe at 145, he starts his cut at 160. And now that he's at 155, he wants to start his cut at 170 because he's put on that extra bulk of muscle. He didn't have any opportunity to do any of that. He just had to take his body from where it was, coming off the couch, coming off of surgery, and just make the weight from there. And the same thing for Usman. Even more fact for Usman, because he's never even fought at 85. He's never fought at 85. He's never gone through a training camp prepared to be at 85. He's never bulked his body up to be at his prime optimal self at 185. He's just kind of guessing. Because what comes with weight cuts is you'll usually end up in your best physical shape possible. Best cardio, best peak strength, if you're not cutting too much weight. Sometimes if you go too far, it becomes a detriment. But if you're at your correct weight class, cutting weight gets you to your prime optimal cardio, strength. All those things should be at their absolute peak when you cut weight to your correct weight class. And I just don't know if Usman had the time to really, we know he didn't have the time to think that out. He did not have the time to think that out. He was just at whatever weight he happened to be at, and he had to just get down to 85 as fast as he can. He didn't have time to take into account, maybe I should lose this many pounds this week, this many pounds this week to retain my strength and retain my power. No, he just had to drop it as quick as he could. And I just don't think that's the most, efficient way to come into a new weight class. And you never know. Sometimes these guys move up a weight class and all of a sudden they have the most crazy knockout power and they're even better. Maybe Volkanovski, we saw Volkanovski last time and he didn't, it's not like he was just one punch Francis Ngannou all of a sudden that he's in a new weight class. So I don't think that that's a factor for him. I don't think that'll be a factor for Usman. And, Chimaev is a guy that's already fought at 85. He's already massive for 70. And Usman is just a little bit undersized for 70 or a little bit undersized for 85. He's the perfect size for 70. He's about 6 foot. Khamzat 6'2". Big frame. You saw, if you look on Khamzat's Instagram, he's had months and months. He's been bulking. He's been in the weight room to be at his optimal self at 185. Usman didn't have that chance. Usman, he always stays muscular. He always, this is probably just what he looked like already. 184.5, 185.5 for Khamzat. And 155 for Islam. That was a one factor for Islam. Was, of course, the weight, because he's the only one that's fighting at his optimal weight class. Usman's up a weight class. He's chilling. He can make that easy. Volkanovski's up a weight class. He's chilling. He can make that easy. Chimaev has made 70 to before. 185 is probably pretty easy for him. Makhachev couldn't go down to 45. This is it. This is as far as he can go in a weight class. So the fact that he hit the weight right on the money and he's good to go gives me confidence that I'm taking Islam by submission. Because I think Volk is going to come in guns a-blazing. He has nothing to lose, as I said before. Nothing to lose. Balls to the wall. Don't know what his cardio is going to be like. Don't know if he has a full 5 rounds of cardio. So guess what? let it all out in the first 2 or 3 rounds. He might just do that. And if it doesn't work, then Islam is going to drown him. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Either Islam, even though Islam doesn't have the best cardio we've seen, but I don't think Volk's going to be able to push him like that on that short notice. So I'm going to say either Islam drags it out, drowns him, and submits him late, or Volk gets just too overzealous early, makes himself vulnerable to bad positions and gets submitted that way. And then for the Usman versus Chimaev, I think this one actually I would, just because Usman at this weight class is such a wild card. Makhachev versus Volkanovski, we've seen that on a full camp. Usman versus Usman, I don't know what Usman is at 85. So it's just hard for me to pick. If you're betting those plus 200 odds, take Usman on a whim, hey, why not? But for me personally, Usman's also getting old. Some people say that he might have hurt himself at the open weigh-in, his knee popped or something. I don't really put too much stock in that. He's chronically had bad knees anyway. I'm sure he knows how to deal with his knee popping, even though that's not the greatest thing. But anybody that has knee problems, like I've been playing football my whole life, and then training after that. Immediately went from football up to college and then started training. My knees pop all the fucking time. I'm just used to it. My back pops, shoulder pops. At some point, you're just like, this is a life of being in athletics. And I don't think anybody should put too much stock into that, supposed knee pop at the open workout. With that said, I am leaning Chimaev, and I am leaning a finish. The reason why is because, I don't think Chimaev's going to be just ragdolling Usman like he's done other people. I think it'll be competitive. I think there may be some grappling. And I think that Chimaev can take Usman down. And I think Usman can maybe take Chimaev down. But in the ground game, I think Chimaev is more dangerous of a grappler. Because if you think about this, I've always said this about Usman, and I've also said this about Colby. They'll take you down. They have amazing wrestling, but neither one of them are grappling finishers. Usman's become more of a finisher on the feet than on the ground. They're not submission threats. They don't have amazing ground and pound. So I just wouldn't see, even if Usman got a takedown on Chimaev, I mean, I don't even know if his top jiu-jitsu is any better than Chimaev's bottom jiu-jitsu. Like, what is he going to really do as far as dominance on the top? He's never held anybody down. He's never done a Khabib and just take you down and hold you down the whole 5 minutes of every fight. He'll take you down. He'll wear on you. You'll get up. He'll take you down again. He'll wear on you. He'll take you down again. But he never really finishes people on the ground. So I don't really see the ground game being a huge threat to finish Chimaev, even though he could ground that out to a 3-round decision. I just don't see it, especially on short notice. So I'm going Chimaev. I think TKO. Maybe in the ground. I think it'll be, some kind of scramble. Usman ends up on his back and he TKOs him through ground and pound. Either that or he might just knock him out on the feet, which I would hate to see that. I like Usman, man. I think the fans did him wrong, and people are coming around on Usman. People still aren't coming around on Izzy, but they're definitely coming around more on Usman, and it hurts me to see it. But I'm going to have to go Chimaev, and I'm honestly probably going to have to go ahead and ride with that, Russian neckbeard parlay for this whole card. Yeah. Should be a fun card, though. Again, if you guys need a way to watch the card, hit me up. This Discord will be in the description where you can reach me. Instagram, all that stuff will be there as well. Let me know if you need a way to watch the fight. I'm your guy every single time. Boxing, MMA, maybe WWE, rare occasions. Yeah. Let's go.